Good day, this is Janepher Otieno. I'm going to be talking about gaining knowledge that works in your busy life. So I'll be looking at some of my notes right here. And this is a topic that I thought is of importance to all of us. So let's look at some of the things that we need to be doing using the Try Wisdom Effect method to actually solve some issues around our lives. I will start with my own example, which is one of the things that bothers me most right now in life is the paperwork that I have in my house. There is so much to deal with. And because I'm involved in so many things, everything has its own set of paperwork. Starting with my special needs son, who has a lot of mountain of paperwork around his caregiving and dealings with each of the caregivers, paying them, writing down how many hours they've worked and all of that stuff. On the other hand, I also have a business that I do, and this business has a lot of paperwork tracking all of the taxation information, the income, the expenses, and just having that put together. Then I have my other children, and these children have their own school activities or other activities, extracurricular, that I need to be able to track. And all of that has paperwork with it. Sometimes it's health information. It is school information. It is work that they've done that we would like to keep for future reference. And all that needs to be tracked. Sometimes it's just growth and development stuff that we need to be looking at together and that we might need to revisit later on. And then I have my own life, obviously. So I have a full-time job, and with that job, I have a lot of students and I have to mark all the time. So there's always something to do around all of that. Full-time work, which takes most of my time, actually. And then there's self-development. So I like to read a lot. And all of that requires some kind of organization for it all to fit together without overwhelming me and without causing burnout. So this topic I thought would be very interesting to you, having given you some of the examples that some of which you can relate to. So, gaining knowledge that works in your busy life. The Try Wisdom strategy that I'll be using here is called RES. So that is R-E-S. The R stands for the root cause of whatever problem you are dealing with or whatever issue you are trying to resolve. The E stands for the effect of whatever that problem is on your life. And lastly, the S stands for solution. So what solution can you come up with? I'm using the example of my paperwork monster to explain this concept. So the problem is that there is too much paperwork to deal with. The root cause in my case, I was just looking at this, some of it is because of lack of knowledge on how to organize paperwork so that it doesn't grow into a monster, a paper monster. The other one is dealing with too many things that require paperwork. So I've explained to you how many lives I have to live. And lastly, lack of time to actually organize those things. Sometimes it's just because you are calling somebody and they put you on a hold, or they tell you, wait until tomorrow, we will deal with that situation, and so on. And you end up being stuck with that paperwork and you are keeping it to deal with it. It becomes urgent or very important. And remember that matrix that I talked about earlier on, the Eisenhower matrix. So let's move on to the effect. What's the effect of that much paperwork on me? First of all, for me, it bothers me so much that I have this much paperwork. Some of it makes me feel helpless. It's like I need to deal with it, but it's awaiting this or awaiting that, or needs this to be done first before you can put it away. And then you put it away, and sometimes kids move it around, and then you're looking for it and you end up losing the paperwork. Then you start looking for that paperwork from its original source, making those phone calls, finding the people, getting them to send it to you, and then trying to file it again can become a huge problem of its own. Procrastination. So again, sometimes I just give up when it becomes really difficult. You give up on it, you might postpone it, and when you do, the problem worsens and it becomes something that you have to deal with, that is waiting for you to still do. And in your mind, you know you still have to do whatever that is. So again, it creates that unfinished business kind of feeling. And with unfinished business, it's always on your mind, which creates psychological noise. When you have psychological noise, that noise prevents you from being effective in other things because it's always there in the background. You know you haven't done this. And the more you pile such unfinished business, the less effective you will be because you are carrying so much psychological load. And sometimes people are forcing you, they need this to be done. How come you haven't done that? And maybe it's waiting for something else. So those are the effects that it would have on you, not to mention the embarrassment that can come with, because you have paperwork everywhere in the house. You don't even know what belongs where sometimes. So again, it creates a mess in your home and it lowers your energy level because you feel embarrassed. Embarrassment has the lowest energy level. So how do we resolve this? Remember, it was R for root cause, E for effect that it has on you. And now we want to move on to the solution that you can come up with to resolve these issues. So I'll be using the Try Wisdom RES strategy, R-E-S, which we just mentioned. And so the first thing is you lack the knowledge to be able to organize your information in a way that it will serve you the best. So in this case, I have to look for where to find that knowledge. Research people who have had the problem and have resolved it, or who have come up with ways of resolving the issue of paperwork. So again, you can come up with solutions to this by looking at other people who have already gone through the process. The other one, you can read books, you can read articles, you can attend workshops on this, you can network with other people and actively participate in some suggestions that they are giving to see whether it can work for you. In terms of lack of time, you need to listen to audiobooks. You can use audiobooks if you do not have time to actually listen or read or attend workshops and all of that. Personally, I have turned my car into a university of its own kind. I read about 3 to 4 books every month just by listening to them, and sometimes by reading before I go to bed. So I love reading. So that's a plus on my side. If you are the kind that doesn't like reading, you might listen to maybe videos or audiobooks while you sweep or vacuum or do dishes, or you are driving to work. So just kind of multitasking, and I will be talking about multitasking differently later on. So again, just remember to do things like that to save your time. The other one is when you're dealing with too much in your life, you need to try wisdom, those things. I have already explained the Eisenhower matrix, where you look at the most urgent things that are also important and do those first. And then you can move on to things that are important but not urgent, because they will become important very soon and affect you in some way or other. And then the third quadrant there would be things that are urgent but not important. And usually those are the things that kind of scream at you. They want you to do them right now. So you can deal with that also separately. And lastly, you have the last quadrant, which is things that are not important and that are not urgent either. So those are things that you can just get rid of. You don't have to do those things. I hope this gives you some idea on how to deal with issues and using using the RES, Try Wisdom strategy. R-E-S. R, root cause of the problem. E, the effect that it's having on you and others and all the stakeholders. And S is the solutions, which is looking back at the root cause and resolving them at that level. Sometimes you might want to resolve the effects that it's having on you before you go back to the root cause, but with the knowledge of what the root cause is. Thank you so much. More of this kind of information can be found on my website or in my blogs, trywisdomvillage.com. Thank you so much.